I bought the cheapest jetboard on the entire internet because jetboarding looks awesome, but it's wildly expensive. So I bought the cheapest one on the entire internet. It is still 10,000 watts and claims that it can go 28 miles an hour. But is that true? And would you even want to go that fast on the cheapest jetboard in existence? We are about to find out. This is exactly how it came in the mail. It's the first time I have ever seen just a straight up foam thing with a shipping label on it. Now let's see if you should put things in foam and send it in an airplane across the world. Surfboards are fragile. I'm sure this is no exception. And people in the shipping industry are not gentle. But overall, I'm not seeing too much damage. I think the board is going to be fine. I have it up on some stands here to open it up. As you can tell, I'm running out of room from all the reviews for cool machines I've been making. So I'm going to have to start giving them away. Subscribe to see what my plans are for that. And let's get into this thing. Let's see, here we go. Man, this thing doesn't look dirty, but holy smokes, I'm a mess. Goya Joe. Wow. Look at how simple this is. Oh man, this thing is cool. Look at that jet. Is that real carbon fiber? That's real carbon fiber, guys. You see, sometimes what the Chinese companies do, like on my e-foil over here, from my world's cheapest e-foil video, is this is actually epoxy with a thin layer of carbon fiber on the outside. So it has the aesthetic, but not the strength or lightness. Whereas this is extremely light and looks to me to be real carbon fiber. And we have a little strap for the top of the binding. And this must be the base of the binding. Also, I'm realizing just now the move would have been open the box on the floor, then lift the board onto the stands. I really don't have a lot of room in here. Let's start rearranging. So further into the box, we have a charger. It looks kind of small, but it's metal, so maybe it'll charge a bit faster than it looks. Whoa. Allen keys leash. That leash is probably very, very important with this product, I'd imagine. And a manual. So it is fiberglass, which makes sense why it's so heavy. And there is a faster carbon fiber version. I'm just going to be standing on this thing when I use it, so. Oh, yep, I think that's most of the weight. I think if you haul the board down to the beach first, and then this, transporting it wouldn't be a total disaster. Okay, the first charging instructions are insane. 4 steps. Step 1, after the first charge is complete, power off and let sit for 2 to 3 hours. Then charge for another 30 to 60 minutes until fully charged again. Then turn off the charger, power off and let sit for 2 to 3 hours. Then charge for another 30 minutes until fully charged again. Perform this operation as follows every 5 uses or once a week. Use a slow charging mode, adjusting the current to 5 amps. This thing charges slow. This one, they let you put it on one direction. That's good. You can't mess it up. I like it. Pretty straightforward there. Since the board came in this foam coffin, I decided it was the perfect, safe way to transport the board, and hopefully that's not some kind of foreshadowing for this first test drive. My friend Craig is a real engineer, and he had some thoughts.
I don't think your foot goes like that. These are like 90-degree, like there's no hinge here. Like they're straight up.
Yeah. I still think the most concerning part is what it looks like underneath. I'm not an engineer like you, but we did build a mini jet boat before, and this doesn't look right.
There's no scoop.
Yeah. Like on a jet ski, a jet boat, you'd have a very gradual plane bringing the water to your prop.
Well, in this you would want to let it roll in. And the prop is...
It looks sharp and exposed. The holy grail of combinations. I'm excited. I think it's going to be very interesting.
It's gonna be something.
Maybe a little sketchy. Now the Allen keys that came with this board, if they were a little bit longer, you could get a full turn without running into the back of the fins. Or if the handle was just a little bit shorter for that matter. But the whole build came together super easy. The bindings are adjustable. There's multiple holes so you could set them up regular, goofy, even angle your foot a little bit to make it more comfortable. And it's really not too heavy without the battery. And since the battery is completely waterproof, you can just throw the board in the water and then the battery, and it's really not that big of a deal. Whereas moving them both together is insanely challenging. But there isn't a real reason why you would ever have to do that. And I'll give you more of my thoughts on the board, the setup, if it's worth the money. But first, let's focus on the most important part. How does it ride? It's kind of loud. And this is probably a great time to mention I have never done this before. I've ridden e-foils, wakeboards, wake skates, wake surfs, real surfboards, all kinds of things, but never this. But it seemed quite easy. Just get on the accelerator until the board starts to plane out a little bit and try to stand up. You can probably tell just by looking at the footage that the roll axis on this board feels slippery. You start to do a toe turn or a heel turn and it just slides in way faster than I'm comfortable with. Well, I put the fins on backwards. They're actually tilted slightly and I didn't realize that, but there'll be another test in this video and you'll get to see how it's actually supposed to look. I have top of the line e-foils at home, so I really wasn't expecting to like this much, but it really ultimately feels like a jet ski that you can stand on, and I think it is a lot more fun than a jet ski. But what happens when you crash? How far can it go? And how fast can it go? Let's find out.
That was actually really fun, but I think I know what I did wrong here. When I put it in the board, it said 45%. I think what I had to do is plug it in and then put this magnet on. It is nice this manual is like a little plastic papery instead of just papery. You're gonna be using it with wet hands, right? It doesn't say anything about the magnet. Let's see.
All right, same thing as last night. It says 100%. The charger says 0 amps. So this isn't in the instructions, but I assume this is a safety feature where this turns on the battery. There we go. I really could not tell you why I didn't think of that last night. I would have had such a longer ride and probably a faster ride, because this is one of those things where as the battery started getting lower, I felt myself going slower and slower. So I imagine, I could have got such a longer, faster ride if I would have known this last night. My Alibaba flying surfboard has a magnet and you do not need to put it on to charge it, so I don't know what's going on there. Yep, it's a lot faster with a full battery. And a lot faster once you see this little button that is sport mode. The instructions really aren't translated super well, but there's not a lot of things to play with, so you figure it out pretty quick. Now, it was pretty wavy for my first battery, and I've realized that this board is incredibly fun in perfectly flat conditions, but very hard to ride and very hard on your legs when it is not perfectly flat. But like a jet ski, you can jump over waves and have a lot of fun. You just can't get that top speed, which is where this thing really shines and where it starts to feel stable. Today we're finally going to test the top speed because I think I figured out how to put it in sport mode. And we're going to test out the total range. So I'm bringing my phone to track it. I've done the whole all day battery on off thing that the instructions want you to do. So this battery, something I really don't like about its charger, you set it down into it, which is great because it's heavy, but you need both hands on it, and it says all over the manual not to pick up with one hand. It sticks in there. So if you're gonna do both hands, you have to like fiddle your foot on that plastic bit to get it off. I put the fins on the correct way this time. I'm super excited to see how big of a difference that makes. But even when they're the correct orientation, the tool it comes with still gets in the way of itself. So I'll be buying a Torx head screwdriver the next time I hit the store. I'm recording my speed and my distance on my phone. Let's give this thing full throttle with a fully charged battery and see what happens. This thing is actually really fun. You just have to have perfect water, that's it. We're down to 73% and we have gone 2.85 miles. So we can round that easily to about a mile every 10%. I think if you do 10 miles on this board, your legs will be about done. So that's probably the perfect amount of range. But sometimes these things can be deceiving. We'll run it to almost nothing and see how far we can go. And I think that it's about time I try to do a wheelie or see if you can't jump out of the water. Because on a jet ski, you turn the trim up and you kind of like blast the throttle and you can do pretty good wheelies. I don't see why this would be any different.
Come on. Oh, he got it. Oh!
It's all over now. I found out it can ollie. It's so tail heavy. You need to like launch straight up and then put all your weight on your front foot. And you can treat any little wave like a jump. I am down to 28% battery though. Over 5.5 miles, down to 30% battery. So the bottom isn't holding out as far as the top, or I'm just using way more throttle than I was in the beginning. One of the two. But the average speed is over 8 miles an hour, average, including us just sitting here talking to the camera.
I've now ridden 3 batteries on this thing, and I gotta say the amount of time it takes to charge, even if you just go from 0 to 100, is all day. And you don't want to run it overnight because, as the instructions say, keep an eye on it. It's not worth burning your house down to charge overnight. And the battery does die relatively quick, as you're about to see, but like I said, this thing takes a lot of energy to ride. You probably don't want to go much further anyways. But after these rides, I do have a fear, and that is that this could be one of those toys that's really exciting and fun at first, but there isn't a whole lot of progression to the sport. I mean, flying on some smooth water at sunset on the weekends is totally awesome, but just like owning a jet ski, maybe that kind of thing gets old. Like stand-up jet skis, e-foils, wake surfing, there's so much progression to the sport. It's like there's always something to learn. You're right on the edge, and I don't know if this is that. It's probably more like a one wheel where it's like really nice to go for a stroll every once in a while, but it kind of maxes out at that. But time will tell. I'll do a follow-up video to show you guys if I stuck with the sport and what I think, but let's see how much range we got and what was our top speed at the end of the day. I didn't want to run the battery down complete zero because you're not really supposed to do that. So I ran it down to exactly 10%. How fast, how far did we go? We went 8.67 miles. So if you ran it down all the way, I think you could get 9. It definitely feels, after 30% battery, noticeably slower. Max speed is 30.7 knots. This first bump, that was in non-sport mode, so nearly 20 knots. And then once it was 18 knots before sport mode, and that burst after sport mode is 25. Let's look up what 30.7 knots is in miles per hour. 35 miles an hour. That's nuts. I think that's faster than they even say it can go on the box. So yeah, it's fun, but not as fun as e-foiling, and I just went on an epic e-foil trip with my friend in a glacier lake. The whole thing is teal. It's amazing. I made a quick little exclusive video for my channel members. If you want to check it out after you subscribe, just hit join and you will get access to all kinds of exclusive content, including early access to all of my videos. So I've been doing YouTube full time for 7 years now, but what I have coming up is absolutely massive. I'm more psyched than ever. I can't wait to show you guys what's coming. Thanks for watching.